Hello, sweet ones, and thank you for joining today's episode of Embodied Divinity. Today, we're diving into the power of beliefs, faith, subconscious mind, and how it all comes together to shape our reality. This week, after today's episode, you're also going to hear from a powerful guest speaker speaking all about the quantum field and the power of the subconscious mind. And then Friday, another journey through subliminal sleep messages. It feels very timely because I've been called to create more and more subliminal sleep meditations lately. And today's episode really gives you the knowledge behind the why for that, because our beliefs, the thoughts through our mind, and that connection from mind to heart are really truly what form our reality. So take some deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. And just sink into being open to whatever message is here for you today. So, in every modality, regardless of what you believe, we have this powerful field. Everyone calls it something different, but it's all the same thing. Scientists call it quantum physics, atheists call it the placebo effect, spiritualists call it manifestation, Christians call it prayer and answered prayer, witches call it spells. There's all these different names for the same thing, and that is reality creation. And you can become a master of this by stepping back and observing the thoughts you think, the things you say, and the beliefs you hold. So, as we dive into this, if you do desire deeper support, if you are noticing these things, having these things come up, and you want someone to walk with you down this process and help you master your thoughts and look at your beliefs, check out my Embodied Divinity one-on-one mentorship program. It's such a powerful one-on-one way to connect with me as we dive into all things you and really unlock your unique energetic blueprint so you're walking, talking, living from your highest self at all times. And what that really means is walking in faith, walking in your knowing, walking as this master of self, creating your reality. So with this reality creation subject of today, one of the scriptures that comes to mind, if we're going to go down the Christianity route right now, we're looking at Jesus as the powerful teacher he was. And remembering from a few episodes back, I believe Jesus is a powerful alchemist, not a savior, but an alchemist, someone who role modeled for us our ability to create. One of my favorite stories from Jesus is he's walking through town with all of his disciples, and there's a crowd all around him. And this woman who is sick in the crowd reaches out and grabs the hem of his garment, and she is healed. And she is so thankful and praising him. And he turns to her, and I'm paraphrasing here, and he says, "It wasn't my garment that healed you. It was your faith/belief that it would." And this is such a powerful moment. And if you go through and read the Bible or do this research of Jesus and his teachings from the perspective of higher consciousness, from knowing that you are your own creator of reality, you can see in each and every way how he continuously brought people back to their faith, to themselves, to the power of their mind, right? Dr. Joe Dispenza has an entire book called The Placebo Effect, an entire book outlining how you can convince yourself, and he's done this with client after client, You can convince yourself that you're experiencing something and that experience occurs in your waking reality. When Christians utter prayers, they are speaking words into existence with the knowing that they will be held and supported, and then they are. The same thing with Wiccans. They create spells, they sink into nature's knowing. And as they recite these incantations, as they perform these rituals, they have a knowing of faith deep in their hearts that it will manifest. It's all the same thing with different names. And what it comes down to is that the beliefs that you carry are directly projected into your reality. And you can create your own reality. You are right now, but you can change it. You can allow it to evolve into something more alignment with your heart's desires as you align with the thoughts you're thinking and the feelings within your body. So connecting the mind, body, and spirit, that deep inner knowing, and allowing your body and your mind to follow suit. One really easy practice I have a lot of my clients do is step back into the role of the observer. Observing yourself from that higher perspective, and starting with like 30 days of, can you live in this place of observation, observing your human self through this higher perspective, noticing the way that your human interacts with the world, noticing the thought patterns that continuously reoccur. Notice the sensations that occur within the body with no attachment to them, just noticing and collecting this data. For example, it might look like, I notice whenever I open my bank account, I feel the sensation that people call anxiety. Okay, that's a notice we're writing down. And all we're doing for 30 days is writing down these noticings. I notice whenever I'm around this particular person, I feel expansive and joyous. Okay, that's a notice, no attachment, right? And then after noticing and collecting the data, we look at, okay, if I'm feeling the sensation of anxiety every time I look at my bank account, what beliefs am I rooted into here? Am I rooted into the beliefs that there won't be enough, that I won't be safe, that I'm not provided for? Okay, how can I change those beliefs? And so we go from observation, and I'm giving you this blueprint here now that you can take on your own and do. This works. First you observe, then you have this data, and this is the integration phase where you're really looking at the data, where you're dissecting it, looking at all these root things. And I like to work one at a time because I love baby steps. I don't like to overwhelm my nervous system. One at a time, I look at these root values. So if you're looking into creating better relationships, you're going to look at that. If you're looking at wealth, you're going to look at that. If you're looking at health, start there. So since I already gave the example of wealth, let's start there. You take this one root behavior of noticing that you feel the sensation of anxiety. You know what you're rooted into, lack, and we don't have to dive into the story here of where this was created. We simply get to choose to change our thought patterns on it. And so we live by noticing the sensations and going back into ourselves, that version of our human, and giving them guidance from that higher perspective. So you open your bank account, you know this root cause is here, you're aware of it. So now you open it with the mindset of, when I open my bank account, regardless of what I feel, I'm going to affirm for myself that I am safe, that I have more than enough, that I am protected. I'm going to take really deep breaths so my body and nervous system also feel safe. And a lot of people I have even envision this process before actually doing it. So envisioning themselves opening their bank account and feeling excited, opening their bank account and feeling safe, right? And we do that for a couple of weeks until the sensations that are harder start to die down. And then we move into, and of course, this can all be on your own timeline, what I call living in delusion, which is one of my funnest ways to live. And living in delusion means you've started this reprogramming work. You're listening to subliminal messages at night or throughout the day to affirm your desires, to affirm your new reality. And then you live, and let's do another 30 days here of knowing that everything has changed, that you have money overflowing in your bank account, that you have all that you desire, and you live from that space feeling constantly blessed, like Lady Luck is always on your side, and living from there. And then you notice again, you can keep doing this cycle, fine tuning and going back, noticing what came up, noticing what you observed, noticing where you can still dive a little bit deeper. And it's about catching yourself in these negative thought patterns and these heavier sensations and meeting your needs in those moments. So I have several clients that do this, but one's coming to mind who can immediately go into these negative stories without thinking about it. This person will be feeling good, will be in the middle of a session, and one thing will trigger a thought pattern. And immediately they'll be telling these stories of lack of the things they don't have. And I can firmly and with love say, big deep breath and stop the story. Stop it here now, because in this moment here now, is this true? And this client will say, no, thank you for catching me. And they'll breathe back into themselves. And we do this again and again because the ego can run rampant with these stories, with these old feelings of how you used to live, of who you used to be. And so you'll start feeling good. And then the ego will put this wild thought in your mind of all the things that could happen if you believe this new story, if you feel this new way, and then you'll be back to where you were if you let it run rampant. And your job is to be that conscious observer that says, stop. I'm choosing to live by this new set of beliefs now. I'm choosing to walk in faith. I'm choosing to honor my heart. I'm choosing to honor my knowing. I know I'm held. I know I'm supported, whatever it might be. If it's relationships, I know the right relationships are coming to me. I know that I am aligning with the best versions of relationships for me. Whatever it might be, you're going to start reaffirming. And we get nitpicky here. James Murphy has a book, The Power of the Subconscious Mind. I also told you about Dr. Joe Dispenza's Placebo Effect. There's so many books out there. Those two come to mind. I'll link them below this episode, of really showing you the power of your mind. So James Murphy gives these examples, and these are a little bit more wild, but this one man always told his daughter from the day she was born, I would give my right arm for you. If it came down to, I love you so much, I would give my right arm for you. And I can't remember exactly what happened, but sure as shit, there comes a day, when his daughter's in her 20s or 30s, when he's put in a situation where he does indeed need to give his right arm for her, and he does willingly. And he created that by saying it over and over and over again. It's these random little thoughts like, noticing what teenagers say, or what some of my friends say is like, or my parents say like, you're killing me, right? Back in like my teenage years, it was always like, you're killing me, Smalls, or I'm dead, like out of laughter, or whatever it might be, or F my life, like we say these things. I'm having a hard time pulling them up because I don't speak or think that way anymore, but we have these phrases that we go to that we don't even think about their repercussions and what we're constantly reaffirming for our psyche. And it's these tiny little words, even like try, should, have to, that create this resistance within us. Even I'm sorry saying I'm sorry in situations where thank you could be supplanted, right? Instead of I'm so sorry I'm late, thank you for your patience. I'm sorry I'm emotional. Thank you for having the space to hold for me on all of my days. Instead of I have to, saying I get to, I will to, I desire to. There's so many different words we say that kind of bring back those negative thought patterns or patterns of I don't have a choice here. But when we can start to fine tune our language, when we can start to reaffirm the beliefs we truly desire to align with, when we can observe the ways that our beliefs are holding us back and get to the root of the problem and reparent those beliefs from that higher self perspective, and then start beginning to live in that reality, knowing we're held, knowing we're supported, knowing it's all working out. That's how we change our personal reality. It's not easy, especially if you have a lot of trauma or stuff going on in your nervous system. It takes a lot of baby steps. That's why I break everything down in baby steps. It takes a whole lot of big, deep breaths and compassion. It's not about the moment you catch yourself going back into a thought pattern, shaming yourself or thinking you fucked everything up or you're creating that new reality. It's about saying, that's still there. And I love that part too. And I reaffirm that I'm choosing to live in this way. It's this constant faith, compassion, grace for self. We're not judging ourselves. We're not putting ourselves down. We're not fearing that we've created something terrible. We're just acknowledging that we have the power and ability here and now to change our personal reality for the better and in alignment with our heart's desires. And in the moments where we fall away from that, we're just letting that be a human experience too. And we're not putting too much weight or attachment into it. So this week, try your hardest to simply be in alignment with your truth, to be the observer, to step back and notice the thought patterns, the belief systems, the faith that you carry and what that's rooted into. And take baby steps to slowly but surely change your waking reality. I will put links to some of my favorite books below this episode. And I'll see you both Wednesday and Friday for some yummy knowledge and meditation, our beautiful guest speaker. And if you're interested and excited about Embodied Divinity, my 6-month mentorship program, reach out to me. You can check out NikylAMaria.com and let's link up and see if you're a good fit. As always, breathe deep and plan on miracles. See you next time.